Hello, and welcome to the Low Code Cafe number 147 for Wednesday, October 18th, 2023. Today, we're going to look at APIs in Plantinap and things that you can accomplish with them. And specifically, we're going to look at this in the context of a headless CMS. And I'll dive into more of what exactly we're going to do today in just a moment. Okay. So quick about Low Code Cafe. It's a bi-weekly webinar that happens on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. We give updates, do demos, and hands-on coding in this webinar, and occasionally we share stories and tips from our team in the community. We invite anyone who feels interested to be a guest speaker on the webinar. We really enjoy that. Some of our best webinars are ones where we have people out in the field using Plantinap who share what they've done with Plantinap. All the webinars are recorded, as this one is being recorded right now, and we post those to our YouTube channel, so you can go back and review the content. We try to do a pretty detailed table of contents for each webinar, so that you can dive right to the point in the webinar where you want to get the information you need at any specific time. So please visit our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Plantinap. And subscribe so that you get notifications when we've posted our webinars. You can do that by scanning this QR code, or by just going to our channel and subscribing. Today we have a pretty simple agenda. I'm going to review a little bit of the standard information that we usually review, and then we're going to dive right into the low code development. And I am the star of the show today. And in case anybody was wondering, Dale is on vacation, and he will be back to do Low Code Cafe next time. So to engage with us, please use the chat window or Q&A to ask questions, and or raise your hand, and I'll try to keep track of that so that I can answer your questions. And then feel free to use the feedback form to let us know what you thought of the webinar and what you would like to what you'd like to see in an upcoming webinar. And yeah, okay. So just a review of the schedule: we present the Low Code Cafe bi-weekly, and the next webinar is scheduled for November 1st. Okay, so from the trenches today is going to be pretty simple. We have hot fixes for 1.25 that are in the works, and they're just undergoing some final QA, so we don't have any new published hotfixes to announce today, but we will very soon. So Dale will have a lot of hotfixes likely to announce on November 1st when we do our next Low Code Cafe. So anyway, for our other meeting that we have on a weekly basis is the Campfire Meeting, and that's where everybody who uses Plantinap gathers together and they share ideas with each other. And this is a great way for you to get some help from people who have had a lot of experience using Plantinap. We invite anyone, any skill level, to come and bring a question to the group, and it's a friendly group. Don't be afraid. It often turns into a really great discussion, and we discover really great things during that call. So definitely encourage participation in Campfire. So I'm going to post some links for this this episode, and where you can register for the Low Code Campfire that I just mentioned, and you can see how to access our recordings and get access to the community portal, which is where another place where you can ask questions of people who use Plantinap, and also the link to the feedback form. And then there's another link here that will cover the just for more information about Plantinap APIs, which is the main focus of our call today. So I will post those in just a moment. And give me just a minute here to get those, and then we will get moving right along here. Apologize for not having it ready to roll as soon as I okay. There we go. So now, moving right along into the hands-on low coding, and master the magic of low-code APIs is our focus today. And I mentioned earlier that we're doing this in the context of a headless CMS. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about what exactly is a headless CMS in case anybody is unsure of that terminology. I'm not going to read each of these bullet points to you. I hope maybe you can look through them while I'm on the slide. But basically, the basic concept of a headless CMS is a way to separate by system the creation of content and then the data layer and then the presentation layer. So the idea is that the CMS itself is just an independent system that serves content to multiple other systems, and those other systems can be multiple websites within your organization, or you can also use your headless CMS to distribute data to other organizations. Give them access to APIs so that you can get data out in into other websites. You can use it for creation of a mobile app. There's multiple ways that you can use a headless CMS, but it's a great way to take your CMS layer and not have to worry about how that impacts the presentation layer. So if say technology changes and your front end needs to have a significant overhaul, you can still have all your content in your CMS, and then that other system will just access the same content in a new way. So it's a very powerful way to keep content centralized and separate it from the presentation layer. So what are we going to accomplish today? Today is going to be pretty straightforward. It's going to be a very simple scenario, but I'm hoping that you'll be able to see what it can grow into. So we're going to start building a headless CMS from an empty site today. So we're just going to start from scratch. It's not going to be a grand solution today, but it's going to be something that can be built upon going into the future. Today, we're only going to have a source system and one client system, but our foundation will be laid to have the multiple systems. And basically, we're going to set up an article distribution system. So it'll be an entity where we create content, and then we're going to use the Plant and App generated APIs to consume that content from the client system. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to get started here, but just as a review here, what I'm going to do is create content on the source, you create a content entity on the source system, and then we're going to do some modifications to that content page, and then we'll move along into modifying APIs. So I'm going to switch to another screen here, and I'm going to go to entities. So this is my source CMS, and I've identified them very clearly in the name of the application so that we can separate them. Actually, I haven't refreshed this one yet so that I can. There we go. So now we have source CMS and the client. So starting on the source CMS, I'm going to create my first entity. And bear with me just a moment here. I'm going to bring up my, to keep me on target here, I'm going to work from a inspiration system. And I want to make sure that Stay very close to that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a namespace here, and now I'm going to just call it, we'll call it CMS for now. And save that and select it, and then my first entity is going to be called site content. And we're going to leave everything else as is for now and continue. And then start creating our properties. Okay, so I'm going to have a title. And I'm going to have an author. And a summary. A body. And a publish date. Oops, my first letter there. Okay, so I've entered all the names of my properties now. Now I just need to specify a few things as far as the content type. So for the author, I want the author to be users of the source CMS system. So I'm going to switch to entities here, and I'm going to choose the user entity as the type here. So this will allow me to select users of the system as the authors. For summary, I'm going to change that to a large text. It probably doesn't necessarily need to be a large text, but I'm just going to make it that just in case we have summaries that are kind of large. And then for the body, of course, that needs to be a large text. And publish date, I'm going to make that date and time. And then I'm going to select my display name as the title of the article. And now I want to switch to the permissions tab, and there's a special permission scenario I need to put in here. So in all likelihood, we would have in this system, as it grows, we would have a content creator type role that we would have to specify here. But the most important thing that I want to do right now is I'm changing the all users permission to all entries. What this is going to do is it's going to allow the client systems to, when they access the API, this gives that API permission to actually serve the data without us having to do authentication to the source CMS system. So for those of you who aren't aware, all users is the public group in the system. So when you want to have content viewable publicly, you need to set the permission for the all users group for the view property. And that is specifically why you don't have the add, edit, and delete options for all users, because if someone's not authenticated, there's no way they can do any of this because we need to know who they are. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save this. And then just switch back to my, so I've added the basic properties, and keep in mind that that this entity will likely grow. There's an inspiration system that's in place that has multiple things like statuses and scopes, and so there's a lot of additional complexity that can happen here, but we're keeping this very simple to begin with. So now I set the view permission to all users, and so we're going to go to that newly created content page, and we're going to make some modifications to it. So let me go there. And the modifications are going to be pretty simple. I want to modify the form first. What's going on? Basically, what I want to do is make the body field accept HTML, and then also edit the listing so that we can display HTML. Okay, so the body, we're going to turn this into we're going to use the Trumbawig rich text field. And, oh, I forgot that I should have copied the token first, but I can go confirm it, but it's original : body. And just real quick, make sure I have the correct token in here. I'm going to go to events and go to this first action here, and that's the token I want to use. So going back to fields, make sure I have the correct token in here. Okay, I typed it correctly. So there we go. We've updated this so it accepts HTML, save that. And now we're going to go to the listing, and I'm going to modify the body field so that it will show HTML that we put in. Yeah, and that's all I want to do there. So we'll save that, reload, and then I just want to come back over here, and I'm going to that's not the one I want there. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of content here that I have prepared already. So there we go. So I just came up with a fictitious scenario here that we're working with a clothing company, and created a little bit of content to go along with that idea. I'm going to choose me as the author of these, and we'll have a summary. And we'll go ahead and do a publish date of, we're not going to really use the publish date yet, but the idea behind the publish date is that if we wanted the content to not be available until a certain time, we could add that parameter to the API and make sure that that we are not allowing content to appear on our client sites until a specific time. I'll go ahead and choose today's date as the publish time, and we'll click on add. There we go. There's our first one. And I'm going to make a change here because I don't like how that's working. And I'm hoping that these little tidbits help somebody when they're viewing this. So I don't like how that form was, because I have a larger content that I want to work with. So I'm going to change the width of that form. I'm actually going to make it 75% of the width of the viewing screen, so that we have a little bit more room to work with there. And we'll go ahead and save that like that. Then reload that page and create another article. And see, now I have a much nicer area to work with. So edit this. And I'm going to be the author. Paste in a summary and a body. And we'll make today's date the published date and add that. Another one here. There we go. And I have one more here, and I'll just go ahead and add that too. I was going to skip it, but I think having a little bit more content on the on the client system will be a little bit more effective here. So. All right, now we have 4 articles in the system. So we've created our entity. We have some content. Now let's go back to make sure I'm keeping where I want to go here. So I've added content. Now I'm going to go to the APIs for the content entity. And first I'm going to create an API key, and then we're going to talk about the security a little bit. I'm going to modify them to change the security to make it a little bit more straightforward to access. But there's different options there. So we're just going to talk about the security of the APIs just a little bit. So let me go back here and go back to configuration and APIs. And what we see here is that having created the entity, I now have 2 well, I have multiple APIs actually, but there's a separate one here. This is for getting multiple. So this will return more than 1 record for the site contents, and we're going to use that one a little bit later. But right now, I'm mostly concerned with this one here. So this will return the content of a specific site content record. So let me edit this one. And I'm going to go down and look at the security. So right now we have it only domains associated with the current portal, and we're using JWT access. I'm going to change this to public. Well, I forgot a detail here first. And we'll get right back to this, but I just want to make sure that I get everything right here. So the first thing I want to do is get an API key here. So I'm going to call this now. I'm calling this client 1. So this is the API key that we'll use for client 1. For those of you who aren't aware, and we will probably look at this in a future episode, but when you do your friendly name and a key and create this key, there's a table where access to the API based on these keys is stored, so we can know anytime this the API was actually accessed with this specific key. So this is kind of good, so we can we'd actually be able to track how often client 1 is accessing the data. All right, so I'm going to save that and go back to endpoints, and once again go into edit this get site content. And okay, so I'm going to change this to public. There's a couple options that I could do here. And one that I think would be effective in a scenario where you have an organization that is I'm going to make it public here, but I just wanted to point out the restricted to specific domains. There's an option when you use the restricted to specific domains cross-domain policy where you can allow for multiple subdomains by using a wildcard. So you can do star dot. So I could, in this case, I could do star.apps.plantinapp.com, and then any of the sites with at apps.plantinapp.com would be able to use this API. So that's kind of a neat way to provide access within an organization. But I'm going to make this public. And I'm going to, for the access, JWT access is something that we can cover in possibly a future episode, and we have covered that in previous episodes of Low Code Cafe. And you can learn more about it on our APIs page on learn.plantinapp.com. Today, I'm going to say that we're restricting to specific API keys, and I'm going to use that client 1 key that I just created. So I'm going to check mark that. So that's the key that's allowed to access this API now. And I'm going to just do a save and test on that. And so I know I have a record ID 1 in there, and I'll click get response. And there it is. The first article is the ultimate fashion hack from boardroom to happy hour. So, and then if I do 2, we can see now I'm getting unleash your inner fashionista. Okay, so we've gotten that far, and we see that our API is working. Let me just go back and check in with what I want to. So now I also want to modify the other API too. So let me cancel out of this, and we will edit this one. And I'll go down, and I'm just going to set the same access that I did for the other one. So we're going to use the same API there. And I just want to check in with everyone, make sure I'm not missing any chats or questions. Okay, looks like we're doing okay so far. Okay, so now I am going to save and test this one. And I actually wanted to set this to not required, but I didn't set that, so we can go back and make that change. But for now, I'm just going to fill it in and click Get Response. And I just, oops, do a copy of that here. And let's go to Code Beautify and the JSON formatter, and take a look at that. I'm going to switch it to the tree view so that we can just see what we're getting there. So we're, you can see that we're getting each article in an array called site contents. So I just wanted to real quick take a review of what that's outputting. So going back to our API, I think we've, and you can see that in the sample JavaScript that we're getting, you can see that it's automatically putting in the API key there for us. All right, so going back to here, we've tested both APIs. And so the next thing is we're going to go to the client system, and we're going to add an article view page. So I'm going to go back here, go to client, and I'm going to go to pages here, and let's go into home. I'm going to put this under home, and we'll say new page. And I'm going to call it, make sure I'm matching my my sample system here. Oops. Let me give the page name and page title the same there. For permissions, I'm going to say that all users are allowed to view the page, and we'll give edit permissions to our low-code engineer role. Okay, and then I'll save that, and let's go take a look at that newly created page. Okay, so here's our article view page. First thing I'm going to do is add a form, and we're going to get into more details here soon, but you can see that we're on our client now, so we're going to be accessing that data. So I'm going to go down here and add a module, and we're going to put a form on the page, and we're going to drag that just above the HTML module. I'm not going to delete the HTML module because we're going to use it a little bit later. Okay, so then I am going to go into the manage form. Start with a blank form. And I want to call it article. And the first thing I'm going to do is go to events, and we're going to add in the pre-init event, we're going to add a server request. So I'll add a server request action here. And we're going to switch back to our source CMS here, and I'm going to get the URL for the API directly from here. So actually, and that's the wrong one. I don't want to make sure I'm in the right place here. Okay, we want to first use this one because we are doing just the detail of a single record now. So I'll go ahead and do a test here, and now I'm going to copy that URL right there. And go back to the article view page and paste in that URL. We are going to do a get. And go back here. And we need to pass in a record ID. So record ID is going to equal, and I'm going to actually initially here just hard code this for now. And I'm going to delete that. And let me just go back and make sure I got to do API key. Oops. And we'll get our API key here. Okay. Now I want to scroll down a little bit, and we're going to for the output token name, we're going to call it content. And then that is all the things I want to do for the server request. So I'm actually going to collapse it so we can see things a little bit better here. And I'm going to start by just seeing what we're getting back just to make sure it's working right. So I'm just going to add a error message here, and we're going to take that, the output token that we just created, content, and we're just going to put that into the display error message to see what we're getting back. And okay, so we'll start there and click save. And then we'll go back. Move this here. Okay, so you can see that we are getting the JSON as expected. So our API is working. So that was a good confirmation there. So now let's go. I'm going to close edit mode here for a bit, and let's go back into. We'll just use the cog to edit this. Okay, so going back to events, I'm going to add a parse JSON into tokens action here and drag that up. And we're going to take that content token that we have there, and we're going to make that the JSON string that we're parsing. And I'm going to call the base token name, I will call it article. Okay. Now, in the display error message, I'm going to take this and I'm going to switch this. Actually, I'll just go ahead and add. I'll add art just so we can confirm that what we're getting is the same. So I'm going to do article, and we're going to do colon title. So we're going to choose one of those properties from the return there. Okay, and we'll save that and reload this. And we can see here that down here at after the JSON, we're getting the article title, which is correct. There's the title, and there's the property that we're getting. So now that we know we have that correct, I'll go back into here, and I'm going to First, go to events, and just in case we want to play with this later, I'm going to save it, but I'm just going to add a condition to comment this out, so we're not getting that error message anymore. Now we're going to go to fields, and I'm going to add a static text field here. So just add static text, and we can call it. We'll just call it content. It doesn't really matter. We're not going to see that, and I'm going to put in my HTML for this. So I'll just copy and paste this so you don't have to sit and watch me type HTML. That wouldn't be very fun. So we have the article title property, the article summary property, and the article body property. And we're putting the title into an H1, the summary into an H4, and then just putting the body into a div because we're getting some HTML from that body. So it has paragraphs in it and everything, so we'll just put it into a div. And we'll keep all the rest of the defaults there. And go ahead and save that and see if we are getting what we want there. So there we go. We are now displaying an article on the article view page. So that's I meant to make this so it's not it's not available in the menu, because we're going to actually use this page just as a display page for these, and we're actually going to have the articles listed on the home page. That's where we're headed next. So let me just do a check-in over here with Q&A and chat to make sure we don't have anything coming up here. And I don't see anybody so far having any questions, so feel free to ask questions if you have any. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to the presentation. Keep myself on task here. So we have accomplished everything here. We've tested this with a display error message. We did the parse JSON into tokens action, and we added a static text field, and we are getting the content now on our client system. So on the client system now, I'm going to switch to the home page, and we're going to add a listing to the page, and we're going to do the data source for that listing is going to be a server request. So this is how we're going to get a list of articles from the source system. Okay, I think I'll go ahead and switch back now, and then so go to the home page. I'm going to do an edit on this, and we will add a listing to the page. I'm going to drag that up here and go to the settings screen. And data source is going to be server request JSON. And now we're going to go back to our source CMS and cancel out of the get site content. And now we're going to go to the site contents API. Remember, this is the one that returns a list. And we looked at that list in the JSON formatter earlier. Got an add I have to deal with here. There we go. So here's that list we're going to be getting. So let me go back to here, and I will do a test of this again, and we'll use this once more to so I'm going to copy that URL there. And that's the URL we're going to go to get data. It's going to be a get. And our request body has to have, it does, I didn't disable row limit, so it does have to have row limit. So I'll go ahead and put that in there. I think I'll just copy this like this. And actually, I'm going to do this. C. There we go, and go back to the home page. So I'm going to start with row limit equals, and we'll make it 1000. And then we'll do the API key equals the API key. Okay. The ID property. Now let's make sure that we get this right. I mean, I know what it is, but I just want to make sure we're looking at this very carefully. Actually, I don't have to do anything. I have everything I need right here. So we'll go back to our JSON formatter, and we see that the property for the ID is just ID. So that's what we're going to use, ID. Wrong tab here. So we'll put that there, and then we don't need to specify a base name. However, I do want to specify the path inside the JSON. So that's site contents. And so let me go back to the configuration here and put site contents in there. And let's make sure I got everything matching up with my configuration, my inspiration system. It looks like we're good there. Okay, so go back up here and click Save. And now I want to add fields. And I'm going to add the title and the summary fields. And that's all I'm going to add because that's all I really want to display. So I'll just have those fields available. So click Add. And then I'm going to switch to views here. And actually, let me just save this and let's just take a look at what we have so far. And then I'll go take a look at the views. So let's click back here. And so now you can see we're getting the title and summary information from the source system on our client system. So we'll close edit mode here and then go back in and edit this. And first thing I want to do is I don't like that name. I'm going to change that to articles. And now I want to go to views, and I'm going to turn off the data table view and turn on the cards view. And for the cards, we're going to set the title to the title field coming in, and the actually, I think, what did I do over here? Let me just make sure it's the same as what I did. So we're getting the same. Yep. So I'm going to set the subtitle field to summary, and that's all we're going to do. All right, I'll save that and reload it. And I think that we could have a little bit more, we could use a little bit more of the space we have available to us. So I'm going to go back in here and edit the views cards, and I'm going to change this one to, go ahead and change it to 2 all the way across. There we go. And a mobile, we'll leave it at 1. Okay. And save that again. Reload it. There we go. Okay. So what I want to do now is give people a way to access the details of this article. So we're going to go in back here and go to buttons and add an item button, and we'll call it view article. And we'll just accept the default here. Actually, maybe I'll make it the primary style. And for actions, I'm going to do a redirect to portal page. And we're going to choose the article view page. And in the query string, we're going to add article ID equals, and then use our ID column. So there we go, article ID equals ID. And I'm going to open that in a new tab as well. And I think that's it. That's what I want to do there. Save that and reload it. Now I have a view article button for each of these. So let's choose one and click on view article. Now I'm getting the content for the first article, but of course, if I click on this one, I'm still getting the content for the first article. So easy fix. We need to, we hard coded the value, but we need to go in there and change that. So then I need to go to events and to the server request and simply go to the record ID and delete that, and we're going to do get article ID as the record ID. And we'll save, reload. And now we're getting the content for the second article. So let's just test that again. Let's do the third one here. Fashion plus technology is the article we're clicking on, and we're getting fashion plus technology. So we have a really basic setup here, and wow, I still have plenty to do, so I'll fill up this this last few minutes of the hour. I hope you guys are willing to stick with me here. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation and see where we are. I have added the item button, and we set the article ID query string param, and we've tested it. So we're good to go there. Now, that JavaScript that you see me be looking at, what I want to do now is show how we can take that JavaScript and we can use that as opposed to a form that's part of planting that functionality. The idea is that we want to be able to access from any system. It doesn't have to be a PlantinNet system necessarily, because we want the idea of the headless CMS is to allow different systems to have content displayed. So just as an example of that, we're going to take the JavaScript method, and we're going to implement that into an HTML module. So I'm going to go back to our source system and create another API that's based on the site content API. I'm going to clone it, and then we're going to output the HTML from the source system. So let me go back to the source system and go to cancel this, get back to APIs. I'm going to go into site content here, go into the site content get, returning the information of site content record. This is the one that we edited earlier. And I'm going to click the clone button to create a new endpoint. And I'm going to call it site content HTML, and returns the information of site content record in. We're going to put HTML here. And we'll get rid of the word object. So HTML format. We're still accepting the record ID, and we're still going to read site content. I'm going to add a raw response here. So output raw response. And I'm going to put the HTML into the content of the raw response. So to get that, I'm going to use the, we're going to go back to the article view page. I'm going to edit this and go into the article, and I'm going to go to my static text field, and I'm just going to grab the same thing I did here. So copy that, go back to the source, and I'm going to paste that into the content here. Now, if I go back to the read site content action, the output token I'm making is record. What I'm going to do is just simply copy article here, and I'm going to change that output token to article. So now I am my output token for this is and remember that the read site content, the read action for our entities, they will output they output into a list. So we are accessing a list, and that list name is now going to be article. So I'm going to drag this up here, and now I need to make sure that we're specifying here what the content is that we're putting out. So I'm going to just put that in here. Content type, and it's going to be text/HTML. Just want to go to my source system here, make sure I did that correctly. I'm sure I did, but I just want to confirm it so we don't have any errors at the last minute here. So outputting the raw response. Yep, perfect. And we still have the, and we're going to delete this. We don't need that anymore. And we still have the same access and the same API key. So we're going to save and test this. We'll put in record ID 3, get response, and you can see now we're getting our formatted HTML. Great. So now I'm going to take this entire JavaScript here. I'm going to copy that and go back to the article view page. I'm going to close this and go back into edit here, and I'm going to edit the content of the HTML module that was automatically added when I created the page. I want to switch to a from the rich text editor. I'm going to go to the basic text box because sometimes the rich text editor plays with scripts that you put in and stuff like that. So I'm going to paste this in here like this, and I also just go back so I can. Okay, perfect. So now I have the record ID. So I'm going to go ahead and we're not going to test it, the hard coding. I'm going to go ahead and put that in here just the way it needs to be. So it's going to be a get article ID. And so that's going to fill in the record ID from the URL parameter. And then I have my API key in there already, and I just want to put in what's going to happen when we process this. So I'm going to first add a div into the HTML. So now I have a div down here that's going to display the return content. And now I'm going to right here. So this is the in the default JavaScript that we provide with each of our APIs. It gives you this place where what do you do with the response coming back from the API. And so I'm going to leave the commented out text there so that we just keep that in mind. And I'm going to paste this in. I'm going to I guess I repeated some stuff here, so let me get that out of there. So basically, I just want to format this first, but then I'm going to unformat it, and I'll explain why I'm doing that. So we're creating a variable here that's going to specify the div that we want to update, and then we're going to take that div and make the HTML in that div equal to the response. So this is the response that we're getting back from. This is where the variable that we're putting our response from the API into is called data, and we're going to put that into the div. So that's so there it is there. So that is what we're going to accomplish now. One more weirdness here is that if I need to change this to a raw response to keep all this from if I don't, it'll add some extra code in here that we don't want and we'll mess it up. So as the last thing here, so we have it nice and formatted now. I can see that everything looks proper, but I'm going to switch it to raw, and now it gets ugly. So it takes a little bit more looking through it, but I know that doing this will make it save correctly. So I'm going to click on save. And of course, I need to go into, I'm sure somebody else saw this, but of course I didn't put my script tags in, so I'm getting exactly what I put in. So let me go and put in my script tag there, and there we go. And the other thing I need to do is change this back to raw. Make sure everything looks good. Save that. And we also need to go into the settings of this HTML module and make sure that we allow replacing of tokens. Update that. And now we'll go back to the home page. And we're going to look at that article again, view article. And now you can see it's the same content is coming in for the action form. So here's the form that we put on the page earlier and that we did with through events to get the content. And here's where we're actually utilizing the JavaScript that's provided for each of our APIs. All right, so once again, I want to go and just check our chat and Q&A to see if we have any questions from anybody, and I don't see anything right now. So I'm going to switch back to the presentation. And so we accomplished the things here that we wanted to. I forgot to set to allow tokens, but I went back and did it. So in conclusion, this is a very simple beginning, but I wanted to take it from the very basics. So this is a simple beginning to what could become a much more complex system. And PlantedApp's API functionality lays the foundation for the system. We have an inspiration system that this is based on that it has really, really great functionality. And I'd love to hear from anyone. Oh, David, I'm sorry, I missed your question there. Does the difference using JS impact performance? So something that I didn't get to that I definitely want to cover and hopefully maybe in a future session is that our APIs also have the option for allowing caching. So caching would improve performance definitely. The one minute difference I can say about the difference between using the HTML module with JavaScript as opposed to using the form on the page is that the forms module comes with a lot of overhead. There's a lot of things that need to be put into place for the forms module when it loads on the page. The HTML module is a much simpler thing. And so by using the HTML module with JavaScript, we probably are getting a little bit of a performance boost there. So David, I hope that answers your question. And I'd love to hear either in the chat now, but we probably don't have much time left for that because I'm going to wrap this up here. But let us know in feedback form or by email if you'd like to see more building of this headless CMS system in a future low-code cafe, because I think that we definitely have more to show, and this system can grow a lot from where we were today. So let us know in any way you can. And so I one last call for questions, but I think gone there. But from there, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today, and happy low coding. We'll see you soon.